Hey everybody, welcome to my kitchen. Trying to have a little fun with COVID-19 shelter in place. So I wanted to do a cooking video for you today. I'm gonna make some steak au poivre with some roasted vegetables and palms Anna. I will link the description and the recipes at the end of the video or put them in a separate post. But coming to you from Nashville today, you can see we have this really small kitchen, not even 10 feet long. We live in a condo here, so it's not huge, but we get it done. Make space where we can, and cool. So I'll get on with the recipe. So for today, I have some 6-ounce fillets that I'm gonna basically just season with salt and pepper, some broccoli florets, a single potato, because I'm the only one that's eating tonight. I might throw 2 in there at the end, some just regular yellow onions, plenty of butter, it's important for this recipe. And then additionally, this would typically be brandy, but I don't have any brandy, so I'm gonna go ahead with some Old Forester rye and some sweet vermouth. This is a substitution for that. Again, if you know taste and flavor and you understand how a dish is composed and how it comes together and what's important for that, you can pretty much sub out anything and make the dish your own. I also have a cast iron skillet. This is going to be for searing off my fillets. You can maybe see the smoke coming off of that. It's about 400 degrees right now, and a smaller pan in the back here, that's going to be for my palms Anna. Additionally, I have my mandolin out to cut the potatoes and the onions super thin, so I don't have to worry about that. And then I have a couple of spoons that I'll need for basting, and then of course my trusty chef's knife, because you always need a chef's knife. All right, I have the toaster oven set to broil. I don't need a ton of heat. I'm not doing a whole lot of broccoli, so I don't need a ton of space. So I'm not using the regular conventional oven. I'm just using the toaster oven. If you have one, that's a good substitute. I have not cooked this broccoli at all. It's not blanched. I haven't put it in the microwave. I'm roasting it, so it's got enough moisture in it that it'll naturally cook. I'm gonna go in with about 1 ounce of melted butter right over the top, nice and generously cover all of that broccoli with the melted butter. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and add a few sprinkles of salt to the top of that. When I'm done with this, I will also hit it with some pepper, and I will also put a squeeze of lemon on it to brighten it up a bit. So I've gone ahead and sliced up my potatoes. I still need to slice up my onion, but I just wanted to show you real quick. I have the pan out here that I had on the stove. It's not too hot. I don't want it super smoking hot. I just want it mostly warm so it melts that butter really easily, but I don't want my butter to burn or brown too much. So I just wanted to melt it in order to get the base layer down for the potatoes, because what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna place these down and spiral them around the entire way, 1 layer at a time. This is how we make palms Anna. And in between each layer, I want to put some very thinly sliced onion, and additionally, I want to put some salt, just so that I make sure that I season the entire dish all the way through. I have finished layering my palms Anna with the onions and the sliced potatoes. I did only use 1 potato. I didn't have to go and get 2. If I was making this dish for more than 2 or 3 people, I would definitely use 2 potatoes for this particular thing. I also have about another 2 ounces of melted butter. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this on top. Before you ask, yes, there's a lot of butter in this dish. There's gonna be butter on the steak. There's butter on the broccoli. We're talking about French cooking here, so that's traditional. You do wanna make sure that you've salted each layer. I did went ahead and salt on top as well. I'm not gonna go ahead and put any pepper on it this time, because I don't want the pepper to burn, because this is gonna be fried. But we're not looking for super high heat. We're looking for about a medium heat for this. We want to get a nice crispy brown, but at the same time, we don't want our potatoes to burn, and we want them to fully cook through the entire cake. So just put it on a medium-low, and you're gonna let it sit there for about 10 minutes until the underside is brown, and the entire cake will start to congeal, and then we'll go over to flipping it next. So checking on my broccoli, you can see it's really where I like it right now. It's got just a little bit of char on the top. The broccoli's still got a little tooth to it. It's definitely an al dente, but this is done, so I'm gonna pull this out and let it rest. I will finish it by tossing it with a little bit, maybe salt and pepper, and squeeze of lemon juice to brighten that up. So now we have the best part of the dish, which is the steak. As you can see, I've went ahead and seasoned everything with just some salt and pepper. Be really liberal with the pepper. This is steak au poivre. Au poivre in French means with pepper. So I seasoned them very liberally. I'm going to go ahead and pat these down with my tongs just on the outside to make sure that seasoning sticks there as much as possible. And I am going to get the edges with any of the leftover seasoning that's in the bottom. Now these are pretty thick 6-ounce fillets. That's okay. I want them that way because they are going to cook in the center really slowly, even on the high heat that I'm going to be cooking with. I do want these to be about a rare to medium rare. Depending on how you like your steak, you might want a thinner one like this one, or a thinner cut altogether if you like a more well done piece of meat. So we have all the kids in the pool now. You can see that everything is sizzling. My butter is browning nicely, giving some great flavor. If you wanted to throw some herbs in the pan with this to help aromatics, that would be nice too. You can use rosemary or thyme or bay leaves. Today I didn't do any of that. As you can see, I have my fillets pushed to one side of the pan instead of all sitting in the center. That's on purpose. I know my stove pretty well. The heat kind of centered right in the pan there, and I don't want any hot spots. Also, when I flip the steaks, I'm going to flip them to the other side of the pan because this side of the pan is nice and hot, whereas the piece that's underneath each one of these steaks is going to be a little bit cooler. So I'll be able to get a really good sear on that side as well. Parmesan Anna is nice and loose. I've been just pushing it around from the edges a little bit, and it is sliding on the bottom, so that's good. It's been cooking in the pan about 8 to 10 minutes from right now. The most difficult part for this Parmesan Anna is to flip it. If you're really good, you can flip it in the pan. But I'm not going to attempt that right now because that's not really good for anybody that's not well practiced. So the best solution is if you had another pan exactly the same size that you got hot with all the nice butter in it, you could just flip this over and then continue cooking on the other side. I do not have another skillet that is this size. So what I'm going to do is I have this plate that's about the size of my skillet. It's a little bit wider. So I'm just going to gently ease it off onto the plate, cap it with my skillet, and then I will flip it over. I have flipped my plate into my pan, and I have my Parmesan Anna back in the pan. You can see that it's very nice and crispy and browned on the bottom. I'm not trying to let it fall apart here, but I just want to scoot it back down and center it in the pan to let that backside brown, and it will be delicious. Getting ready to flip these guys right now. So I am going to flip them, again, like I said, to the other side of the pan. You can see that they have a really nice sear. And now when they are cooking on this side, I will be able to lift up this side of the pan, get all the butter, and start basting them once they get that really nice sear on them that I want. As you can see, my steaks are out of the pan now, and they are resting on my board. I cooked them up to about a medium rare, maybe a little bit over medium rare. For the sauce, this is the last part. We're going to go into our pan, which we reduced the heat on significantly down to a low, and we're going to add a little bit of the onion that we had reserved from our Parmesan Anna. A little bit of minced garlic. And this will not take long. You just want to stir this up and just get them sweating and lend all of their beautiful flavor into this sauce. This is the brandy, what would traditionally be brandy. For me, it's going to be a little bit of bourbon and the sweet vermouth. This is dangerous, okay? You don't want to go into a super hot pan with high test alcohol over an open flame or with any other open flames around. It will flash, it will create a big fireball, and you don't want that. If you are not comfortable with this, take the pan off the heat, let it cool down a little bit, add your brandy, bring it back to the heat, okay? I've done this a bunch of times, so I'm pretty comfortable with doing it. For you, you may not want to. Often in the restaurant, we actually would flambe this, let the fire hit it, and it would burn off all the alcohol. So what I'm going to be doing now is just cooking this mixture down to what we like to refer to as au sec. That means almost dry. And we're just caramelizing the sugars that are in the brandy, cooking off any of that alcohol getting the sweetness out and just really letting all of that wonderful flavor that's in the pan soak up into the garlic and the onion. And you can see that all of those brown bits that were stuck there from the steak are coming up because the alcohol and the liquid helps deglaze the pan, is what we call it, and creates this beautiful, wonderful mixture. So I'm just going to cook this down a little bit until it's a nice syrupy consistency. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the last component, which is going to be our cream. I have milk today. I have about 6 ounces here. I'm not going to add it all at once. And we will have a beautiful sauce when we're done. So I pulled my sauce off the heat. I had my whisk going. I reduced it down by about half, and you can see it's quite thick now. And all of those great bits are incorporated into the sauce. You can grab a small spoon and taste it for seasoning at this point. Make sure it has enough salt, make sure it has enough pepper, and that it coats the back of a spoon like this. That's what we call nappe. Alright folks, we're all done here. So if you want a beautiful restaurant style plating, you can see I've taken my pan sauce and put it straight in the center of my plate. I've taken my parmesan and I've cut it into 4 quarters evenly, just like a pie. That's going to go straight down in the center. I'm going to take 2 pieces each just for this and kind of offset them just a little bit. I have my steak ready to go. You don't have to cut it like I did, but you can if you want to have that beautiful restaurant effect. Again, this is just showing off the nice doneness inside. We're looking at about a medium rare right there. And then lastly, I have my broccoli, which I tossed in some more butter and a little bit of lemon, nice and charred. Beautiful plate. We're just going to stack that right up on top, just like this. And there you go. We are ready to serve. And if you want to go into a restaurant and eat this, you'd probably be paying 40 bucks at a fancy place, maybe even 60. Thanks for joining me. Have a good night, and bon appetit.